Distortion, elastication, and space grabs coming your way. For your own sake.
We have covered many blockbuster films on this channel, but today we are going to throw some light on the films that were so bad that they either infuriated the audience or became unintentionally hilarious, to a point that they are a must-watch for those drinking game nights. Although everyone's taste in films is subjective, just hear me out as I bring you 13 films from the last decade that are widely recognized as disasters for numerous reasons, ranging from bad acting, poor writing, or just lackluster execution. So, let's dig in. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Cowboys and Aliens, 2011. I am sure there are some people out there who are passionate about cowboy films, and the plot doesn't matter to them as long as it is action-packed, with guns and combat. But this film still was a blockbuster flop for the film that haphazardly mashed two different genres. It takes itself way too seriously. The characters in the plot are wearing this frown all the damn time, despite having such an absurd concept of a Western setting meeting sci-fi villains. Even with great actors like Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford, the film fails to spark the on-screen chemistry or provide any character depth to these two or even the aliens. Nothing much happens. Some aliens attack the West, abducting people and stealing gold from Earth, while our hero has somehow managed to escape the alien ship after losing his wife, and even stole a shooting gadget from the aliens. He uses this gadget and the help of townsfolk as well as the native Indian community to attack the aliens and free the captives. There is this not-so-heartwarming sacrifice by Olivia Wilde, and the film ends as humans obviously win. If you are going in with no expectation at all, believing that it is going to be an absurd film just for fun, then you may enjoy watching the cowboys banding together. Otherwise, you'll be disappointed at the lack of any sensical depth in the entire premise. That being said, you can go ahead and watch the film to quench your little guilty pleasure thirst. After all, where else will you find James Bond and Indiana Jones as cowboys in one frame? Cats, 2019. Even Taylor's version won't be able to save this film. There is a rumor that this film wasn't released. It escaped. It is a film adaptation of a popular stage musical with the same name by Andrew Lloyd Webber. The plot centers around a group of anthropomorphic cats called Jellicles, who annually gather for this ceremony called Jellicle Ball, where one of these cats is chosen by Old Deuteronomy to go beyond to the Heaviside Layer and be reborn into a new life. It is believed that this world is some kind of purgatory, where these creatures are stuck between death and the next life. Although the film tries its best to mash up the fun element with the emotional depth, its off-putting visuals of fur-covered humans with cat-like features only distract and disturb the viewers from the main purpose of the film. There are people out there who absolutely love the film, and most of them are the fans of the theatrical musical. But for the ones who are completely new to this bizarre world, it feels like a weird fever dream. A review even says that only the elite people of high culture and educated society will be able to understand the film. So I guess all of us who didn't like the film are the dregs of society. Jeepers Creepers, Reborn, 2022. This film teaches you how to ruin a famous franchise and garner hate from a cult following of horror fans. The original film's director, Victor Salva, has proved that art has nothing to do with how bad a human being you are, as despite being such a deplorable human being, he has managed to pull off films that are widely loved and appreciated. People again caught up to his monstrous deeds when Jeepers Creepers 3 was released, and the film didn't do well, as he was not involved in the creation of this fourth installment. People hoped that it would redeem the degrading quality, but the franchise only keeps going south. With a most generic plot, it involves a couple traveling miles to attend a horror hound festival in an isolated town. The guy is ready to propose while the girl is pregnant and cheating on him with some other guy. Of course, the pregnancy plays a big role as the creeper begins chasing the girl, and there is some sort of cult involvement, which is never explained. The monster loses its entire personality in this film as it kills whoever it finds without any selection process. Additionally, its appearance is more laughable than horrifying. The film had a low budget, and it seems that they chose to use that limited budget on the wrong cast and crew, because nothing in the film makes any sense. It's like they were in a hurry to get their hands on the Jeepers Creepers franchise. Movie 43, 2013. The creators of this film managed to pull the most famous faces of Hollywood, including the Oscar-winning Kate Winslet, Hugh Jackman, Chris Pratt, Naomi Watts, Jeremy White, and many more. It took around 4 years to be finished because they had to wait for different actors to be available, and it seems that they were all guilt-tripped to join. It is a compilation of short sketches that have no relation to each other, except for the ridiculousness. The stories are there just for the laughs, and it seems like a bunch of high school friends decided to create the most bizarre scenarios that would either make you laugh or feel disgusted. The plot ranges from Kate Winslet going on a date with Hugh Jackman, who has some growth on his neck, to Jeremy White, who is being homeschooled by his parents as they make sure that he doesn't miss out on the American high school experience, so they make his life miserable. You get it. It's a hodgepodge of out-of-the-box stories that are so surreal that you end up laughing at the absurdity of it all. But if you watch the film with an intellectual lens, you'll end up feeling offended, which many people did. The film only partially works because the actors make sure to give an Oscar-worthy performance to the most awful script.
Yes, only now you work for me.
Artemis Fowl, 2020. This is yet another badly adapted film by Disney that has little to no resemblance to the books. Even if we forget about the books for a moment, the film couldn't stand as a new idea. There is this 12-year-old child prodigy who is very intelligent and athletic. That doesn't sound right. His rich dad gets kidnapped, and Artemis now begins this whole fight with the fairy world to get his dad back. It takes away from who Artemis Fowl truly is in the books and creates this shiny character that seriously doesn't do much. The Artemis we have known to love from the books is a cold-hearted and greedy anti-hero who wouldn't hesitate before harming or using others for his motives. The film creates this 12-year-old genius, a generic hero who does nothing criminally wrong that resembles the real Artemis. Also, the acting and casting are an insult to the books. The creators found it too complicated to create a great character with moral ambiguity, so they lazily created whatever this film was, apparently believing that the audience would not be able to handle the real Artemis. Hence the criticism. By thinning down the characters and the plot, they removed all the good things that people loved about the original marvelous creation, helping it gain its position in this list. Morbius, 2022. Here is yet another film that can't let a villain remain a villain and finds a way to create this heroic story about his origin. We have Dr. Morbius and his friend Milo, both of whom are suffering with a rare blood disease. Morbius promises Milo to find a cure, and he does. But the cure ends up turning him into a living vampire who needs to drink blood to survive. Despite knowing the stakes, the desperate Milo steals the cure and suddenly turns into this greedy antagonist. Now, like any superhero film, they fight, and eventually, the good wins over the bad. At this point, Jared Leto is the master of bad comic book adaptations. Well, at least he looks good as a vampire. According to the viewers, the only two good things about this film were the top-notch CGI and the fact that Morbius looks similar to his appearance in the comics. Other than that, the plot was pretty predictable, and the characters lacked any depth or chemistry, be it the best friends or the lovers. It isn't the worst one in this list, but it still stands among the bad ones because of the poor plotline and its desperate attempts to be associated with the Spider-Man universe. With that post-credit scene, what was that? The Emoji Movie, 2017. It really says something about humanity when out of all the things we can create, we choose to create a film on emojis. So, the film is about this defect emoji that is supposed to only make the meh face, but it can somehow change his expressions to all kinds of faces, while all his peers are strictly stuck at just one emotion. So, he is threatened to be removed from the digital city of Textopolis by the head, smiling emoji, and off we go on a journey of this meh emoji escaping the authority. There is also this human storyline, as all of this is happening inside the smartphone of a middle schooler named Alex, who is trying to impress a girl using emojis. Eventually, Meh comes to terms with all his expressions with the help of his friends High Five and Jailbreak, and they defeat the Smiler. The film didn't land well with either kids or adults. The kids didn't understand it and were uninterested in watching this unnecessary drag, while adults just found it boring. It is full of product placements of other apps, like Candy Crush, Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, and even Twitter. There is nothing original in the film except for a bunch of emojis, as the plot ideas remind you of other films like The Lego Movie or Inside Out. The best thing about this film is that Patrick Stewart plays the poop emoji and is pretty proud of it. Dolittle, 2020. Here is your ticket to watch RDJ in a different light after seeing and loving him as the infamous Iron Man. The film is about this veterinarian guy named Dr. Dolittle who has an ability to talk with animals. He becomes famous while treating animals and humans in need, but after his wife dies, he starts living a life of isolation with his pet animals, which also includes a cowardly gorilla. His isolation is invaded by two kids, Tommy and Rose, who bring the message that Queen Victoria has fallen ill and has asked for Dr. Dolittle. After much argument, Rose is able to convince Tom to visit the palace, and Tommy also joins them. Dolittle realizes that the queen has been poisoned and can only be cured through a magical fruit from Eden Tree. He now embarks on an adventurous journey with his animal companions to find this cure. Oh, and Tommy stubbornly joins them on their ship, and Dolittle eventually begins to like this kid. The voiceover cast has other great actors like Tom Holland, Rami Malek, Emma Thompson, Octavia Spencer, and Selena Gomez. I wonder how they still messed up. Oh right, the execution of this remarkable story by Hugh Lofting was just wrong. The film was not at all coherent and lacked any kind of flow or structure. The little kids would definitely find it happening because of the haphazard imagery put together. But as for the adults or the kids who have gained an opinion by now, the film just isn't it. The humor seems too forced and repetitive. The CGI looks way too unrealistic, and even the pacing of the film was not right. Some scenes dragged on while others were just rushed. This adventure comedy fails to be both adventure and comedy. Also, what's with that strange Welsh accent? Slender Man, 2018. So here we have a bunch of high schoolers doing something they are advised not to do, per usual. A group of female friends watches a video on Slender Man, which apparently summons him. It shouldn't be this easy, but alas, it is. Just one video, and the Slender Man attaches himself to the girls. One goes missing, one starts acting weird, and the other two take desperate measures to save their friends and family. This faceless and tall creature makes his victims suffer through nightmares, and it is so easy for him to enter their lives. The film takes the repetitive ideas from The Ring, with the whole video summoning jazz, mashes the plots of other horror movies, even taking elements from Evil Dead and the Infinity Wars Spider-Man suit, in that final kill where the Slender Man branches out like a spider. And this is how a great concept that made me sleep with the lights on because of all the horror podcasts just went down the drain. It's not even scary anymore. It would have been better if they stuck to the nightmare aspect or the sacrificing aspect, or even the stalking aspect, but they just meshed it all together. Slender Man can enter your dreams in the physical world. He can even FaceTime you. In reality, this legend has prompted two 12-year-old girls to attempt to sacrifice their friend to Slender Man. You see how serious it is and how this film was not the right depiction of the psychological harm this creature can cause. Well, the creators don't. Space Jam: A New Legacy, 2021. The film is the sequel to the 1996 Space Jam with Michael Jordan and Bill Murray. This one features LeBron James, who wants his son to be a basketball player like himself, but the kid is more into gaming and wants to become a video game developer. The two are soon called for a meeting at Warner Brothers Studio, which doesn't go well, as LeBron rejects it. However, Dom is interested in the studio software known as AIG Rhythm. This AI has gone rogue and wants to gain more recognition in the world, so it traps the duo in the digital world of Warner Brothers Serververse. It imprisons Dom and takes LeBron to create a basketball team to compete against his team to earn his freedom. Meanwhile, the AI manipulates Dom into helping it recreate its basketball video game, and the boy feels like someone is finally listening to him. LeBron now travels the Warner Brothers universe to recruit teammates and meet many characters like Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, Roadrunner, Scooby-Doo, Beast Boy, the superheroes who are too busy to join his team, and even Rick and Morty show up for a minute. Instead of following the plot though, the film bombards you with references after references to other films, and it just never ends. It's like an advertisement that pushes you to look up all these other characters. You just can't focus on what's going on as the entire audience of the basketball match is made up of the Warner Brothers character, and you get all caught up identifying Pennywise or the Mask in the background. So the film relies heavily on the nostalgia and the pop culture references, instead of deepening its plot or acting, making it pretty forgettable. Dear Evan Hansen, 2021. The film follows a high school teenager, Evan, who is battling with social anxiety and depression. He has been advised by his therapist to write letters to himself so that he can find something positive in his everyday life. One of his letters is found by his classmate, Connor, who gets enraged after reading his sister's name in the letter, as Evan has a crush on her. Soon after, Connor takes his own life, and the family finds the letter in his room and presumes that it is a suicide letter. They now start to form a bond with Evan, believing that he is Connor's close friend, as the letter was referred to as Dear Evan Hansen. Thinking that he is helping the family, Evan starts lying left and right, creating this whole story about being best friends with Connor. He even makes a speech that goes viral, and the internet soon begins blaming the parents, asking why Connor wouldn't refer the letter to them. Evan soon comes clean and following some rough time, things go back to normal. Now, the film is not all that bad, but it takes a lot away from the original stage musical, including its visual style. The fuss it made by recasting 27-year-old Ben Platt to play a 17-year-old Evan was a huge mess, as people were not able to sympathize with the character. The viewers also point out that the films make a lying and manipulative villain, such as Evan, look like a hero, while he exploits other people's grief and vulnerability. Karen, 2021. The first thing that comes to your mind after hearing the title is exactly what the movie is about: an entitled Karen who uses her powers to make everyone's life miserable, especially the young black couple that moves next door. As you guessed it, she is also a racist. To make things worse, she uses her equally racist brother, who is also a cop, to assist her in this harassment as she begins stalking them in hopes of finding some dirt to get them removed from Harvey Hill. Things go to extremes when Karen's racism is not supported by the other folks, and she is dismissed from her HOA president position. Now, growing completely unhinged, Karen uses her brother's profession to get the husband arrested and goes to kill the wife. Yeah, it escalates that quickly. The film puts together all the Reddit threads about the entitled people, which are pretty realistic. But the Karen's escalation to a murderous level doesn't make any sense. The only good thing about the film was Taryn Manning, who is remarkable in every role she plays, as I have often wanted to punch through the screen when she plays her villainous roles. While trying to make a social commentary using one of the most famous memes of modern times, the film blatantly fails at providing any depth to the message, while also missing out on being a thriller. The Open House, 2018. The film follows a recently widowed mother and her teenage son, who move into some remote mountain home as the dad's accident has left them financially strained. They start experiencing weird things in the house, ranging from missing phones, scratching noises, the water turning on and off, and the house phone ringing with silence on the other side. The basic horror movie stuff. No, it's not any paranormal stuff. There is a man stalking them and lurking in the corners. Eventually, this person makes his presence more apparent by setting up a dinner table for the two. He soon proceeds to capture the duo and brutally tortures them, while the protagonist makes some stupid choices. The kid even accidentally kills his mom while trying to find her. The film ends on a frustrating note, as even the kid doesn't survive, and this man's identity is never revealed. Although the film proves effective in engaging us in the plotline, as any sane human being will try to find out who the stalker might be, after long hours of keeping us glued to the screen, it takes us nowhere. There are no motives of the killer. He is just doing things for the thrill of it. So, the entire movie is a result of random circumstances of people being in the wrong places at the wrong time. It's like the creators didn't think it through. They had an idea and just went with it, leaving it on us to try and make sense of it all. Marvelous verdict. This was our list of bad films that left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, making people wonder, how on earth did these get past the script stage? They cancel brilliant shows but greenlight these films with little to no self-awareness. All in all, it is still fun to watch some of these films and laugh at the absurdity. I guess everything in this world serves a purpose, no matter how ridiculous it is. Let us know if you think any of these movies shouldn't be on the list, and comment down below to tell us about the worst film you have watched in the last decade. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.